Okay, well, here we are then, and my favourite place on Earth, under the Earth, here in the Action Centre within the COP26 main centre. And we're reaching the final stretch. We're in the final day of COP26 now. The crowds are still here. They're starting to dwindle a little bit. And to discuss some of this and reflect on the past few days and weeks, I'm delighted to be joined now by Erin Meezan, Chief Sustainability Officer and Vice President at the flooring manufacturer Interface. Erin, hello. Talk to us a little bit about the past few days and how you've been involved in this COP.
Sure. Hi, Luke. It's great to be here. It's winding down. Been here for about a week, and a big part of my job here is really sharing the message that climate action is good for business. So I've been talking about the Interface story, what we've done to reduce our emissions, how we've gotten our products to carbon neutral, and really talking a lot about how the business ambition needs to be raised on climate. We need to go beyond net zero to really be imagining ourselves as carbon negative businesses.
And so for some of our audience who haven't been lucky enough, is that the right way of putting it, to come up here to COP26, people at home in their offices, how would you kind of describe this experience in this 2-week summit for sustainability professionals?
Well, it is a really important time for the global political community to come together and come to grips with how are we as a planet going to address warming, right? So there's real negotiating, there's diplomacy, there's very detailed sessions, but it's also, a little bit of a pageant as well. So, I think here for me experiencing it, I'm super optimistic to see a lot of the high points of the global community coming together. But, as a non-negotiator, as a non-party, I feel like what I do here is really engaging with businesses and showing what's possible and being an example of where business needs to be going.
And in terms of the business's involvement in this COP, I haven't been to a COP previously, but I've heard that businesses are much more involved, they've got much more of a seat at the table. Have you experienced that?
Sure. I think not only businesses have been more involved here, but certainly voices that have traditionally been outside. So indigenous leaders, youth, it's been really nice to see across the spectrum the business community being much more active, the youth activists, indigenous leaders, because, we all share this planet and we all have a role to play in delivering on reductions. So we should be at the table. It's been interesting to see there's been some, criticism of people saying, not in the non-business community, saying this has been like a branded COP and there's like so many business leaders here. But, realistically, we're such a huge part of helping to deliver the NDCs the country plans to reduce. The more businesses we can get engaged here to see it, to understand what's at stake, to really dig into the solutions, I think the better.
And so much has happened over the last 10 days or so, so much ground covered. Obviously, we've had themed days delving into those topics with discussions happening all over the pavilions here. So if you were to kind of pick one area, the most important aspect of these talks from a corporate sustainability perspective, what would it be?
Well, I think it's all about ambition, right? On the broad scale, a big sort of theme coming into this was, will the countries raise the right level of ambition, and then have the specific plans to deliver on it? And that really needs to be mirrored in the business community. So aside from kind of the thematic stuff where we talk about biodiversity or we talk about cities in the built environment, above all of that, I think we still need to be sort of holding the right ambition, firstly. And the second thing we kind of can't forget, and there's a fantastic video that I saw yesterday of Mary Robinson, the former president of Ireland, talking about how we can't forget what's at stake. And the fact that this isn't just a series of global meetings, this isn't just the international community coming together. We're talking about what we're going to do to create a livable planet, to create a climate fit for life. So there's a huge amount of emotion and humanity that goes on here that sometimes is really behind the scenes that I think as businesses we can't forget, right? It's appealing to that. It's bringing out that humanity with our leaders, with our employees, that's going to help us do the really hard work to make the reductions we need to create the future we want.
You talk about ambition, and obviously another key element people kept talking about this COP being the COP of implementation. So in terms of kind of moving from ambition to action, what would be your sort of key message for sustainability practitioners all the way up to CEOs who are looking to turn the global ambitions of COP26 into sustainability actions?
I think it's two things. The first is you've got to be comfortable with choosing the biggest, boldest ambition, right? Something that you don't know how to deliver. And there's such a huge discomfort in doing that as a company. It's counterintuitive to sort of say we want to declare targets or we want to set goals that we don't yet know what we can achieve. But I think interface is a great example of sort of saying if you set a really high bar, you're going to get there. Solutions appear, but more importantly, that high level of ambition galvanizes people. It gets focus. It drives innovation. So, to go from that really high ambition that you have to implementation, I think the next step really is don't get tangled in too many details. Start. One of the first things our company did when we said we want to be in a business that has zero impact on the environment, which was a huge goal 25 years ago, we focused on something small and material that we could see and measure financially, which was waste. One of the first things we said is to transform the whole business. We're going to start at this one place, waste. We're going to educate employees, we're going to get some wins, and we're going to get along the way. And I think that's very true for any company on climate action, right? Set a really bold goal. All of our products will be carbon negative. We will be a carbon negative business. And then start. Start somewhere, and that action, that confidence, those results you generate will go a long way to pushing you to where you want to be.
Well, Erin, thank you so much, and thank you for being our final video interview of this mini-series of videos that we've been producing here. The negotiations are still going on. Fingers crossed that they kind of get across the line in the right way. Before I get emotional, I will say goodbye. Thank you so much to our audience for tuning into these videos throughout the last 10 days. And do stay tuned to Edie as we kind of cover the final closure of these negotiations. Thank you.